This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz, and I'm very excited to be speaking with Henry Loevner and Stephen Kanter about their film Peak Season. How are you both doing today?
Doing well. Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yes, we are eagerly anticipating the release of this film. It's been a long process, but we're excited.
Yeah, I was at the Violet Crown Cinema in March 2023, a nice little intimate venue for a premiere, and it was nice to get to experience this film. And I don't think I had necessarily given up all hope, but I hadn't heard anything about it for a very long time. And so it was nice to suddenly see it, on a release schedule. Can you tell me a bit about the process getting from that festival premiere to where we are now?
Yeah, sure. We're touring the film all around the country, going to festivals, and screening the film. We're finding, like a really warm reception, which is great. Obviously pleased to see that the movie was connecting with audiences. And yeah, a slow process of trying to find the right distribution partner, but fortunately, we ultimately partnered with Entertainment Squad, which is a really wonderful distributor that we've been super happy with, and so we're very excited to roll out the film finally after 18 months or so since our premiere, and also that we'll be getting a nice limited theatrical run, which for a movie of our size is pretty rare these days. So yeah, I can't wait to um, have people finally see the film.
I know that when I search my email for peak season, I get a lot of JetBlue emails and other things. I have to really put it in quotes. It,
So do
it
we.
seems like it seems like a great time though. Early August is a perfect time, I think, because it really the world around us is somewhat like the idea conveyed in this movie.
Yeah, I mean and it's for it's nostalgic for other reasons too. It was very hot filming this movie in the summer of 2022, was it? Yeah, so we're just yeah, we're very excited to finally have everything moments away from a release, and we're hoping that, as Henry mentioned, that people respond to the movie in the way that we've been fortunate enough to see during some of the festival runs. It's been really That's been one of, I think, for me, the highlights of this whole experience is like hearing how many people have had a summer or two working in Montana or Wyoming and relating to some of these characters in the project.
Did you have the chance to show this film in settings like that? And do you find people react differently based on where the film is playing?
Totally, yeah. I mean, with with any film that is either a comedy or has comedic elements, like you'll always find that different audiences will respond to and like laugh at different jokes and stuff. But of course, showing the film particularly in Idaho and in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where the film was shot, that's really been the most special screening experience we've had so far. Obviously, people were really responding to like all of the specific details about the world and about the local community and like little jokes that we had written in there that most audiences in New York or San Diego or wherever it kind of maybe goes over their head, but yeah, that was really amazing. And even in places like Denver, which, people still connect to mountain town culture and they understand the ski bum and fly fishing culture and stuff. So, yeah, that's been especially rewarding for us.
I think the film does really show two different cultures of what life is like in those places. Is it difficult to get in there even just to film for those reasons?
Specifically in Wyoming
Yeah.
or just in general. Um, I mean, our experience making this film, we were actually somewhat pleasantly surprised by how welcoming the members of the community that we did were able to interact with, and from that being local businesses and there's a few sort of landmark locations pretty central to Jackson Hole that we of course had on our wish list of like, okay, we gotta have the $1 Million Cowboy Bar, but you never really know, especially working in LA predominantly. it's always a toss up whether or not businesses or even just community members would be like for a film or kind of not seeing us as interloping outsiders. No, it was very positive, and I think we also hope that we've done our part in trying to sort of respect these areas of the country and to try to just tell our story and do so in a way that is honest and sincere.
Yeah, I think people, as Stephen pointed out, they're very eager to just see like, okay, are these guys, what kind of movie are they making? Is this going to be an authentic portrayal of the town? And once they understood that this was this film not only captured the local community in an accurate way, but also we worked with a lot of people locally to try to tell a really authentic story. My family's been living in the area for a very long time. Then they were a little more open to welcoming us and letting us, film in their spaces.
And you certainly don't have, a big name cast or anything, but you do have people that you've worked with before in The End of Us, which is another film of yours that I've seen, not with an audience, but I think that's sort of appropriate given its content, but
Oh
which I
yeah.
really enjoyed. How does that work to sort of take, some of your ensemble players and then sort of shift them into the lead roles?
I mean, for us, the that was to a large extent kind of by design. Very early on with peak season, I mean, Henry and I had certainly had conversations just about like uh, as you do for any project, like okay, who's our dream team list for certain members of the cast, and I think there wasn't too much deliberation before we sort of landed on these collaborators and fellow creatives that are also very close friends of ours. That we decided that really would be I think the best approach for this movie because um, we just get so much back from that, and I think they did as well. Like it's the type of movie that really I think relies on creating an almost instant chemistry between our two leads, played by Claudia Restrepo and Derek DeBlasis, and um, it's just as from a logistical standpoint, I think it was really helpful for us as a nimble crew to be able to know even before we started shooting that okay, our leads we're going to be great. Like we trust these people. We've worked with them so many times, and fortunately, they trust us as well.
Really great. No, it's a lot of fun just to see how everybody works and interacts. Do you feel like you want to keep making movies with the same actors?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the dream is that we get to take our little troupe of writers, actors, and filmmakers, and just continue to expand each project in scope, and also bringing in other talented actors that are not people that we're close friends with. I mean, on this film, for example, we had the pleasure of working with Stephanie Courtney and Fred Malamed, both of whom we love and really respect their work and have been following them for a long time. So, the ambition is just to keep doing that, which is like bringing in more people into our circle.
I don't want to give anything away for people who haven't seen it, but did you always know where you wanted this film to end?
Good question. Yeah, I mean, that was a big topic of discussion at the script stage, and honestly, even during filming. The ending of the film, that is certainly the way the movie ended in like the earliest versions of the script. But like we tried out some alternatives and tried to weigh like, okay, what's going to be the most honest way to end this film, and hopefully something that's also going to leave the audience feeling satisfied and not disappointed, like meeting expectations of the genre of a romance film while also not falling into cliche. It's like a really difficult line to walk. So we talked about it a lot, but ultimately, I don't think we shot any really like once we were in the thick of production. I don't know that we like really considered shooting any alternatives. And it ended up being like I'm so glad we made the choice we did.
Yeah, I mean, so Henry and I actually drove from California to Wyoming a week or so early to, sort of get there and scout and just finish some of the pre-production. And I do remember on that 2-day drive, we and this is just also kind of an indication of like how we overthink perhaps, and maybe sometimes we when we work off of each other and there's no escape and there's just thousands of miles of highway, that we might at least verbally think about rewriting the entire movie. And so we did have conversations where we're like, wait, actually it should maybe go this direction. And then, but I like to see that as just like us sort of talking through and communicating like what we already knew to be true, which was that the script as it was, and in Henry's original script, I mean, really that made the most sense. And I definitely think we stand by that today.
And do you already have another project that you're collaborating on next?
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple of things now that we're writing. We're also shooting, working with the same troupe of actors, shooting a short form series right now that we're still in post on, that we're hopefully going to get to release in the next couple months. That's a little more comedy forward. But yeah, always like juggling a lot of different projects and many irons in the fire.
You have a sense of where that short form project will land, or that's like you're supposed to say just yet?
We'll see. I mean, it probably just something we're gonna put on YouTube and Vimeo. But yeah, we're trying to do a sort of high maintenance style short form series that is like an authentic peek at, life in East LA. So
Well, I think you guys have done pretty well for yourselves with, 2 South by Southwest premieres and, really sort of a mastery of independent filmmaking. Do you have a desire to, collaborate on a blockbuster where you have a $200 million budget, or do you feel like you're comfortable where you are, even if maybe there were a few more resources available?
good question.
No, I mean, I definitely think that even between peak season and the end of us, our first feature, I mean, there was a very conscious effort to scale things up, so to speak, be it creatively, through the production, and I think, I think that we certainly have goals to sort of continue to sort of build it out, and kind of even similar to what Henry talked about with like our troupe of sort of this kind of collective of people that we work with and that are all so talented. Like I think it's being optimistic about what we can continue to grow and sort of let it become bigger, and doing so in an organic enough way. I mean, but if you have a $200 million feature that you'd like to throw at us, I mean, we will do it. We will abandon them. We will no.
It's hard because we debate the merits of this all the time, which is like it's always hard making a film under any circumstances. And so even if we had a lot of money thrown at us, that would come inevitably with a lot of creative constraints. And the beauty of making a film like like Peak Season or with The End of Us is we have extreme limitations in terms of resources, but we can make whatever creative decisions we want and don't feel beholden to other stakeholders. So yeah, pros and cons.
Well, I wish you plenty of luck with the release of Peak Season, with this web series, and whatever kind of projects you do in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you
the
so
support.
much.